All right, today we're going to take a trip back in time, all the way to 1922, to unpack a really fascinating book called Mental Chemistry by Charles Haanel. Now, forget everything you think you know about positive thinking. This is a deep dive, a really deep dive, into the idea that our thoughts actually operate on scientific principles and that they literally physically shape our bodies and our world. The whole book really hangs on this one single, profound question. What if your thoughts could actually build your reality, one atom at a time? I mean, it's a huge idea, right? It challenges us to see our minds not just as passive observers, but as active, powerful creators.
So, this is where it gets really interesting. Handel's core analogy is just brilliant. He says, look, in regular chemistry, you take sodium and you add chlorine, and they combine to create salt. A totally new substance, right? Well, he argues our thoughts do the exact same thing. A specific thought is the input, and it combines with universal laws to always produce a specific consequence. It's pure cause and effect, and it all starts right up here in the mind.
Okay, so to prove a theory this big, where do you even start? Well, Haanel starts small. I mean, really small. He goes all the way down to the smallest level of life, the cell, to explore its connection to the mind.
This quote right here just perfectly captures his whole idea. Haanel believed that thought and desire are actual, physical, creative forces. A simple cell desires light. That desire sends out an impulse, and over millions of years, that impulse gradually, physically builds an eye. He uses the same logic for everything: how reptiles grew wings, how giraffes got long necks. In his world, desire literally sculpts biology.
And here's the absolute kicker. In Haanel's view, a cell isn't just some mindless biological machine. No. He sees every single one as an intelligent, living thing with its own mind and its own will. So what does that make your body? Think about it. It's not one single being. It's a conscious community of trillions of tiny individuals.
And this idea leads right into his definition of health and disease. It's so simple. When that community of cells is working together in harmony, in concord, you get health. The body works as this beautiful, coordinated whole. But when there's discord, when there's disharmony, that's when illness shows up. For Haanel, disease is just what happens when your cells aren't getting along. So we've got these tiny, intelligent cells, but how does that connect to, well, everything else? From the microscopic cell, Haanel zooms way out to the invisible forces that he believed govern all of reality. He basically argues that what we see as solid stuff is really just energy and vibration.
This is such a great way to wrap your head around it. Haanel says, think about a bell. The bell itself doesn't actually contain sound. What it does is create vibrations in the air. It's our mind that takes those vibrations and interprets them as sound. The entire experience happens inside our own consciousness.
And this idea applies to literally everything we experience. Reality is just this huge spectrum of vibration, and our mind is the interpreter. So you have slow vibrations, and we feel that as heat. Speed them up a bit, they become sound. Faster still, and get this, at an incredible 400 trillion vibrations per second, we perceive light and color. But what about all the vibrations outside that tiny range? To us, it's just nothing. Silence, darkness. Even though the vibrations are still out there.
So what does this all mean? The takeaway is, well, it's pretty profound. The world we see, the one with all its colors and sounds and textures, it isn't some fixed, external thing. According to Haanel, it's all an internal creation, an appearance that only exists inside our consciousness as it makes sense of this invisible world of vibration. Okay, so if we're living in this world of intelligent cells and vibrating energy, what are we supposed to do with that information? Well, this brings us to the really practical part of mental chemistry: how to master the cause and effect of our own thoughts. Haanel was absolutely certain that our thoughts have direct physical consequences. He said that constructive thoughts, things like hope, courage, love, they create a healthy chemical reaction in the body. But destructive thoughts, fear, worry, anger, they unleash what he calls a poisonous chemical reaction that can literally stop your digestion cold and plant the seeds of disease. But what about those deep-seated negative thoughts, the ones we can't seem to shake? Remember, he was writing this back in the 1920s, and he points to the brand new science of psychoanalysis, even quoting Shakespeare to describe its purpose: to pluck from the memory a rooted sorrow. And what's really wild is that the healing process he describes sounds remarkably similar to modern therapy. He says a painful memory becomes like a sore festering in the subconscious. So the goal is to locate that original wound,
bring it up into the light of your conscious mind, and once you really see it and understand it, poof, its negative power dissolves and the healing can finally happen.
All right, we've gone from the cell to the mind, and now we've reached the final frontier of Hanel's philosophy. We're talking about the different levels of consciousness and how we can climb that ladder to a higher state of being.
So at the very base level, you've got simple consciousness. This is that fundamental awareness of just existing. It's what all animals have. That basic instinctual recognition of, I am here. It's the awareness a wolf has of its pack or a fish has of its school.
Then you have the next level up, which Hanel believed was unique to us, to humans, and that's self-consciousness. This is the ability not just to be, but to turn our awareness inward and think about our own existence. It's our power to contemplate who we are, our place in the universe. It's where we get to ask why. And finally, we get to the ultimate state, cosmic consciousness. He describes the jump to this level as being as huge as the difference between being able to hear and being able to see. It's a state of total unity with the universal mind, an awareness that completely transcends our normal ideas of time and space.
Now, here's why all of this really matters. Developing these higher states of consciousness, it's not just some fun mental exercise. Hanel states it like it's a law of physics. As your consciousness develops, so does your personal power.
And the best part? He makes it crystal clear that this potential for greatness, this incredible power, isn't just for a select few. He says that the chance to awaken this deep inner courage, this power to see clearly and act boldly, is open to all. It's our universal birthright.
So in the end, mental chemistry doesn't just give you a bunch of answers. It leaves you with one final, incredibly powerful question to think about for yourself. If your thoughts are truly the scientific building blocks of your life, what are you going to build?